Today we've got the Mustang versus the Camaro, the resurgence of the modern muscle car. Now, I know some of you are saying these are pony cars, and while technically you're right, these are the closest things we have to muscle cars in the modern era, and in the world of the Prius and the... What?
It's with the boots and the ponytail.
I am from Texas. I can get back in touch with my roots for these cars.
You're an idiot. You know, the Mustang never really went away. It's been around in various iterations.
With no competition. It's just been hanging out since the 60s, and the last decade or so, nobody's been around with it.
You're right. Well, now the competition is back. This is the showdown we've been waiting for.
Well, and you know, I'm hoping that these can actually go around corners and not fall over. I mean, we're going to take it on straights and in corners. Maybe it'll do more than just drag from the lights.
You gonna drag in those boots?
I am not, but I do have a trucker hat for you.
Oh, good.
This is the Ford Mustang GT.
Really the same car as was introduced in 2005, but it's been freshened for the 2010 model year.
And there are a lot of things about this car that suggest it shouldn't be much fun to drive. A live rear axle to start off with. And after that, it's down on the Camaro by more than 100 horsepower. But it does weigh 450 pounds less than the Camaro, and that's significant.
You really can't drive a spec sheet. You've got to drive the car for yourself. It's drawn upon its history and its heritage. This is a great machine.
I must say that the 2010 Mustang is a fantastic refining of the Mustang formula.
Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. More power and torque, reduced wear, better economy, longer oil life. It's so good that 25 out of 28 of America's top high-performance engine builders relied on it at this year's Engine Masters Challenge. Why? Royal Purple delivers real-world performance. Royal Purple, the performance oil that outperforms.
You're probably either a Chevy person or a Ford person. And if you're a Ford person, it doesn't matter what I say.
I'm a Ford guy. This is the car everybody relates to. Everybody knows the Mustang. A lot of people used to have Mustangs. There's more nostalgia attached to this car than there is the Camaro.
The Mustang's like that pretty girl you lived next to and forgot about because that girl from Brazil just moved in. The Camaro's the girl from Brazil. Well, okay, Alabama, but still.
The Mustang has been around a long time, but I think in this iteration, this is the best looking car yet. My biggest complaint, it's got an underbite. It's like Benjamin Buford Blue on Forrest Gump. Everything else about it, though, is really sophisticated.
I'm just not compelled by the styling of the Mustang. And this revised version looks like they took the last version and just inflated it.
This car is the tailored gentleman to the Camaro's high school hot rodder.
All of the press materials made a big deal of the fact that the taillights blink sequentially. On a sports car or a muscle car, no one should be talking about the taillights.
I think that's a cool feature. Now the windows are not quite as narrow as the Camaro's, which means I can see.
Especially with this all-glass roof. You're practically sitting in a lighthouse. But unlike the Camaro, the Ford Mustang's interior doesn't feel purpose-built for this car.
Really well laid out, and it's going to age beautifully. It's built well, the materials are honest. The only thing is, I could use a lot less of this chrome. Now, because the greenhouse in the Mustang is a little bit bigger, it feels like the interior has more space.
The back seats are really just there for your insurance guy. Nobody's actually going to want to use them, at least no one with legs. The driver's seat's terrible. It actually feels like a leather-covered park bench.
This car feels like it's more usable.
The Mustang has more body roll than the Camaro. It'd be disconcerting if the steering wasn't so sharp.
But I've got more information in the Mustang, and it's not bad through the corner, it just feels a little high on its suspension.
What you're fighting against that live rear axle is basically an I-beam between the two wheels, and you've got to pray that there's no mid-corner bumps.
Ford has accomplished the impossible. They've used a live rear axle, but the handling is better than the Camaro's.
Crisp, precise turn-in with a lot of body roll and a back that'll slide out from underneath you. It almost feels like you've got the front from one car and the rear from another.
There's no doubt about the power of this car.
Before we all went crazy into the worldwide horsepower wars, 315 horsepower was a lot.
Just because this car has 100 horsepower less than the Camaro, that doesn't mean it's slow. I'm amazed at how willing this engine is, and it sounds fantastic.
Now, Ford has the 5-liter Mustang coming out soon, and it is going to get us over 400 horsepower. We're looking forward to that, but it still doesn't get past the problems that keep it from being as exciting. The Ford Mustang is becoming very close to a world-class car. If they change that live rear axle, they could get there.
I'm really impressed at the overall engine power, the combination of the brakes, the steering, the handling. Even though having independent rear suspension sounds like the better way to go, I'm impressed at what Ford's done.
It's a vast improvement over the prior version, and a genuinely fun car to drive. But I don't find myself cackling with laughter like I do in the Camaro. It just turns me into a child.
The car negates everything that Prius drivers worldwide are trying to do.
Honestly, if you're buying a muscle car, what are you doing? You're buying rolling attitude.